Okay guys, so as you may or may not know, I have been dabbling with mixing and producing a little bit, just kind of learning, getting my feet on the ground. And a few of you guys asked, how I got started, what I use. So this is gonna be me kind of running through all that, the software I use, how I've been learning, all that good stuff. So let's just jump right in and let's talk about the most important piece, which is the controller. So I have the Pioneer DJJ FLX4. It's a really good beginner controller and way less expensive than getting like a CDJ. But what's the difference between the two? Basically, controllers are like an all-in-one system. You have the mixer and the two decks all in one thing. And you can get more advanced controllers than this one that have like screens built in rather than having to connect it to your laptop like I have to do. But like I said, this one's really inexpensive, good for beginners, and I plan on upgrading later. Don't know if I'm gonna get another controller or do the whole CDJ thing, which by the way, the CDJ is basically you have an individual mixer that you then connect to CDJs, and you can have like 4 tracks, maybe even more, I don't know. But yeah, 2, 4, it's just more customizable that way and more professional. Like I said, for just some casual at-home mixing, a controller will do you good. And like I said, I have to connect mine to a laptop, so you will need that and a cord to connect it to. Then you're gonna need some speakers and cords to connect it. I have this, I think this is called RCA cord. It has the red and white going from both the speaker and the board, but you can also do like a red and white to an aux as well. I've done that with a portable speaker too. So what else? Oh, headphones. So these are the headphones I have, and I'll put everything in like a little Amazon storefront little page so you know everything that I have and use. I do like these headphones, they're good quality, all that. The one thing I don't like about them is that because they're completely over the ear, they rub off on my makeup a lot and they're getting kind of crusty, as you can maybe see. So don't love that, but they work fine, so I'm gonna keep them until I decide to invest in a new pair. If you're a guy and you don't have that problem, well then they're great. So that's basically all of the equipment I have, besides this table, this stand that I have it on, which is just like a little 8-cube little system. So now let's talk about software. I use Rekordbox just because that is Pioneer's software, and a lot of clubs use Pioneer decks. So that was kind of my whole thought process. But Serato is another popular one as well. It will depend on your deck what you can use. So my deck can use Rekordbox or Serato, but some decks are Serato only and some decks are Rekordbox only. So just depends on the one you get. In addition to Rekordbox, I also have a Beatport subscription. So you're gonna need music to mix, right? So you can buy your tracks individually, but each song is like $1.49. So you buy 10 tracks, that's like 10, 15 bucks. And that can add up. So I use the subscription for Beatport, which allows me to stream any song that I want and practice that way. The one thing you can't do though is record a mix with music that you're streaming. You have to buy the songs in order to record the mix, so I learned that the hard way, but that's not a big deal. So I do buy some songs, but when I'm just practicing messing around, I stream through Beatport. And it also helps me pick what songs I want to buy by allowing me to trial them out, figure out how they might work in a mix, and all that jazz. And the subscription is like $14.99 a month, I think. There's different levels, but I think the one that I pay is like $14, $15 a month. So not terrible, especially considering, like I said, when every song is $1.49, you get to 15 bucks pretty quick. So that's the basics. Get your equipment set up, and then how the fuck do you learn this shit? Well, obviously YouTube is a really good platform for learning. That's how I've learned a lot. However, what I would learn first, if you're not familiar, is like a little bit of music theory and music structure. So you gotta know beats and bars and 8 counts and like how songs are generally structured. Your intro, drop, like all that kind of stuff. Beats and bars and 8 counts are really important to know so that your songs mix well and at the right point and sound fluid and seamless and all that good jazz. So I obviously have a background in dance, so that was pretty easy to like gloss over, but also I have learned a little bit more about like music theory, because one thing that totally changed mixing for me was like mixing in key. And what the fuck does mixing in key mean? So different songs and their like melodic structures have different keys that they are associated with, right? Like C major, E minor, blah, 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 blah. And there's this thing called the Camelot wheel, which basically assigns a number to the different keys. So there's like a 1A, a 1B, a 2A, a 2B, all the way up to 12A and 12B. Now what the wheel allows you to do is shows you what you can mix to and have it sound good, right? So 1A goes with 1B, or 1A can also go with 2A or 12A, because it's like a little clock, so it loops at from 12 to 1. You can also, I think, probably skip like 1A to 3A, maybe even 1A to 4A. I'm not really sure. I kind of just dabble and see what sounds good, because you don't have to mix in key. It's just you're gonna have an easier time mixing those melodic parts, at least, when you do mix in key. Now, if you're mixing like a techno track and there's not a lot of melodic components, especially like in the intro and outro, and you're just mixing like the kick and the bass, you don't really have to worry about that too much. Like hi-hats and the kick will go pretty well together no matter what key the song is in, right? So you don't need to learn like all of music theory, but just kind of understanding that component, mixing in key, was very helpful for me in making my mixes sound better. And again, you don't have to follow that rule. It's a guideline, not a rule. If you want to mix two other songs together, like, fucking do it, you know? This is a creative art, not a science, so fuck around and find out, you know? And then the other thing, once you know a little bit of music structure and theory, is really focusing on the EQs. That's like, I'd say, the most essential part of mixing. I mean, hey, I'm no pro. I'm just telling you from what I know and what I've experienced. So the EQ is basically adjusting the high frequencies, mid frequencies, and your low frequencies to blend and mix your songs together. So low frequencies are like your kick, your bass. Mid frequencies, like the core of your song. A lot of times it's like vocals, maybe certain mid percussion. And then your highs are like your hi-hats. Things that sound like and like mids are like and the lows are like you know what I mean? So EQ, music structure, blah blah, and then you're ready to just kind of mess around with it. Don't take it too seriously, have fun with it. Just like figure it out as you go. I'm a firm believer that the best way to learn something is just like to practice it and do it and just get your hands dirty. I'll put a link to everything that I use, both software and equipment, in the description below. But thanks for watching this video. Hope it was helpful. I hope you find a new creative hobby out of this. I've been having a lot of fun with it, and more mixes coming soon. So thanks so much for watching this video. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one.